Panther people, what up? What's going on? You're watching Panthers Post with Phil Perkins. Thanks for joining. If you're new here, make sure to pound and keep pounding. I'm chopping. I always chop. Make sure to pound and keep pounding that subscribe button, that like button. Make sure to spread the word. Make sure to spread your knowledge and your feelings and your thoughts and your pains and your pleasures. Has there been any pleasures with the Carolina Panthers in the comment community? It's a beautiful place to be. I appreciate you guys for being here, sticking around for almost a year. And with that, I do have some cool little contests that could be coming up to celebrate 1 year of Panthers Post. If you like beer, if you like local beer, you might want to tune in to that episode. I'll be keeping you up to date on that. Also, make sure to follow me on Twitter at Panthers Post. Number 1, like Killer Cam. The Underwear Olympics in Indianapolis is going down this week. That is the NFL Combine. And this is before Panthers Post. This was, before PFF and analytics. There was something about the Combine that I absolutely loved. Maybe because I'm a bit of a gym monkey. I love watching guys just bench. I love seeing dudes' physiques running, how fast they could run the 40. These are things I love. I love these things. I love to see just gigantic bears, offensive linemen, 6'7", 380 pounds, doing a high jump. I want to see this kind of stuff. I don't know why. I've always dug it. And Daniel Jeremiah, and say what you want about him, the fact that he still loves Sam Darnold after all these years and keeps drafting Sauce Gardner to the Carolina Panthers as 6th overall, yet another corner. Say what you want about him. He did say, if you're an analytics person, if you're a PFF nut, if you're an analytics person, you can also not be a combine hater, because there are certain parts of the combine that it's all information. That's what it is. It is literally the fuel for analytics. So you can't be saying, you love someone's exit velocity or how many air yards a pass goes, but you're not a fan of how big their hand size is. What's their 3-cone drill like? What's their 40-yard dash? You can't hate on that kind of stuff. And I will say, though, I think there are going to be better ways to measure a player's ability and also their metrics. Maybe not a 40 time, but a GPS to see their game speed type situation. I think that could be a little bit more important than just like a straight line 40-yard dash, because when's the next time you're ever going to do that? Especially if you're like an O lineman or a tight end. Notable things for the Combine coming up this week. Most importantly, Kenny Pickett might measure his hands. No, but honestly, we'll get to that. But obviously every head coach and GM normally scheduled to speak to the media about their approach entering the draft, entering the Combine, and also, as we all remember, Indianapolis, the Combine is when a lot of these front office guys get the hobnob, and this time it's going to be in person. It hasn't been canceled or anything like that because of COVID, so there could be a lot of wheeling and dealing going on up there at Lucas Oil Stadium. But Matt Rule is not going to be speaking with the media at all. It's going to be Scott Fitterer, and that's it. And so, for those who are like me and have a little bit more faith in Scott Fitterer and Dan Morgan and Samir Suleiman than you do with David Tepper and Matt Rule, that is a good sign, in my opinion, that maybe the power shift has shifted towards Scott Fitterer, who has 20 plus years experience as a front office exec in the NFL, and Dan Morgan, who played and of course did good things in Buffalo as well. So you would hope that those guys are calling the shots when it comes to picking up the draft picks, wheeling and dealing, and letting Matt Rule just coach, if you want to call it that. It seems like Matt Rule's now just really a rah-rah guy, a program builder, a culture setter. But then you got those NFL coaches a la Ben McAdoo, who's actually going to be coaching up these players. Panthers have locked in one of their core members of this team in Ian Thomas. Yeah, there's a slew of free agent tight ends right now. Let me just look at the free agent tight ends that are available. So Mike Gesicki out of Penn State, athletic freak. He is available. Dalton Schultz of the Cowboys. Zach Ertz, who I wanted the Panthers to pick up last year. Evan Ingram, also athletic freak. Robert Tonyan, who I think tore his ACL either last year or not. But then you got Gronkowski, Seiji Ozuma from the Bengals. I think he's going to stay there. Max Williams, OJ Howard, David Njoku, Jimmy Graham, nah. Eric Ebron, nah. Gerald Everett, Jared Cook, Mo Alley Cox, Hayden Hurst, Tyler Conklin, and Ricky Seals-Jones. He had all these guys. Personally, I would have gone for a David Njoku. I don't know what kind of price tag he would have gotten, but the Panthers opted to re-sign Ian Thomas to a long-term deal with guaranteed money because they felt that he was worth it. He is now the 16th highest paid tight end in the NFL. So we have Tommy Tremble, who I think is the future of the position on the team. And then you got Ian Thomas, who I literally thought he wasn't even going to make the team last offseason. And now they've paid him. And on top of all that, literally less than 24 hours after they announced the extension for Ian Thomas, we also find out that Ian Thomas is now facing 5 counts of misdemeanor charges from last summer. So again, last offseason, that he apparently was fleeing police while on a dirt bike. So I don't know if like an actual with pedals or like a dirt bike, but the Panthers knew this. It happened last summer. 5 misdemeanor charges. And then he had the season that he had. Unspectacular season that he had. And then after all that, they still felt like that he deserves an extension and not just a wave goodbye. Thank you so much. We're going to pick up, CJ Uzomah or OJ Howard or Max Williams or somebody else who might be able to provide something different than what Ian Thomas has provided, which is not much. The Panthers only have 1 pick in the first 100 picks. No day 2 picks. No round 2 or 3 picks. Just that top 6. That's it. And then you got a bunch of day 3 picks. You got a 4th, you got a 5th, you got a 6th, and you got a 7th. So we got to make up that somehow. We really, really do. And as you guys may have known already, I've mentioned in previous times that my day job is that I'm a broadcaster, TV broadcaster, reporter, anchor, producer, all that jazz. And so there is a saying, I'll take you behind the curtain. In our business, when you're making a report, it's your baby. You work on it all day and you're really passionate about the story. But sometimes there's an aspect of the story, a clip, a really good quote from somebody, but it just doesn't really fit. And to make sure it makes the story whole, and while you might feel that it's good personally, for the better good of the story, you might have to cut it. And we call that in the business, if you're offended, don't get upset. It's called kill your babies. You got to be able to kill your babies. It's for the betterment of your full package. In this case, in football, you got to kill your best players, the ones that you really like, you have a personal attachment to, but you got to do it for the betterment of the team. So we're going to run down a couple of who Scott Fitter refers to as core players on the team that you'd be more willing to let go for a boatload of draft picks, because no one wants Sam Darnold. They're not going to give you anything for Sam Darnold. It's just not going to happen. And, everyone knows the Panthers are desperate to trade down for that 6th pick. So, you might not get the haul that you think you're going to get. But how could you turn away a DJ Moore? How could you turn and say, no, we're not going to give you a bunch of picks for a Brian Burns or a Derek Brown? You know what I mean? And so who are the players out there that you would be willing to let go if it means a boatload of draft picks, more players, more darts to throw at the board to improve this team, or just more draft capital that you can lump together and get the most important position in the league, and that's a quarterback. And probably the most easy player for most fans to say that they're willing to let go of, who is considered a core player, is unfortunately the guy who I just bought his jersey this past year and wore once or twice. And that is the 22 assassin, Christian McCaffrey. Would you let him go for a slew of draft picks? I'm talking a first, second, and third. I'll just say something stupid. Just 1, 2, 3, first, second, and third. Would you let go of Christian McCaffrey for a first, second, and third round pick? I say yes. If a team is willing to do that, if they have the cap space, we're going to throw cap out the window. Let's just talk about straight emotions. Would you be willing to see Christian McCaffrey in another team's jersey if it means you get 3 brand new players who could potentially replace him or just better this team? So Christian McCaffrey had the season that he's had for the last 2 seasons. Would you let him go? I vote yes. Another core player on the offense that you might be willing to let go. And this one's a tough one. This might be the most tough of all the decisions. DJ Moore, number 2. Continuously to churn out stats, despite the fact that he's had a different starting quarterback in the last 3 years, and he continues to do it. DJ Moore. Would you let DJ Moore go for a first, second, and third? So that means the Panthers have 2 first-round picks. Do whatever you want with it. Would you do it? I would only say no, because at this moment, the wide receiver room hasn't shown that it can produce on the field if it's not DJ Moore. Terrace Marshall, unfortunately, just kind of had an up-and-down rookie season. That happens. It kind of sucks to see, because you see guys like his former teammate, Jamar Chase, absolutely kill it as a rookie. You see that kind of stuff. I thought Rondale Moore out of Arizona, I thought he had a pretty good rookie season as well. Terrace Marshall, we just didn't really get to see much, unfortunately. Shai Smith got injured. He was kind of here or there. I thought he was pretty good as a runner. I thought, Robbie Anderson kind of picked it up a little bit. He sucked in the beginning. I'm already starting to see rumors, some articles out there that he could be let go, as he could be traded. So if you let DJ Moore go, and then you potentially pick up a rookie wide receiver or some other free agent wide receivers that that you can spread out the money that you're going to have to pay DJ, which is going to be a lot of money. You just take a look at his stats. He could be like a top 10 paid wide receiver type situation. Or do you want to spread it out a little bit more? I just think if you let DJ go, and let's say you get those picks and you get that quarterback, who is he throwing to? You kind of find yourself in a 2015 Carolina Panthers situation where it's like Kelvin Benjamin, Devin Funchess, Philly Brown, Jericho Cotchery, B minus, B plus guys, but no A plus blue chip type guys. And DJ Moore is a blue chip A plus type guy. So I say no because of the situation around him. I guess Taylor Moton, I would not let him go because we're seeing what our situation is in the left tackle position. The last thing you want to do is now have two gaping holes on the offensive line. So that's a no for Taylor Moton. He is staying. Now it gets crazy with the defense because that's really where the most of the concentration of elite talent lies with the defense. So let's start on the front lines. Derek Brown, would you let him go? Yes, I would. I would let Derek Brown go. I would. I think he kind of also had an up and down season last year. Unfortunately, it took him to be benched for him to then re-emerge on the starting defensive line to then start playing a little bit better. But I feel like, he's also going to be due a lot of money. A lot of these guys, the Derek Browns, Jeremy Chinns, Brian Burns, these guys, J.C. Horn, in a couple of years from now, they're going to be commanding a lot of money. And Derek Brown, to me, hasn't shown me enough in his short time with the Carolina Panthers that, he hasn't shown me that he's going to be like a Vita Vea type, who came into the league and immediately started making an impact, I'm just not seeing it right now. And so to let him go for first, second, and third to try to take another crack, at a pretty decent crop of defensive linemen, defensive tackle positions in this year's draft, I feel like I would take that chance to kind of press the reset and see what happens. I think I would let him go. I would let Derek Brown go. Brian Burns made his first Pro Bowl. All right. I'm going to say no, I would not let him go. I think the pass rusher is a super important position. I know defensive tackle is also important because if you want to take, what guys like Luke Kuechly have said, if you got a quarterback, rookie quarterback or not, the middle of the offensive line is the most important. You want to keep the guys out of his face. But, it's very important. We know that. Aaron Donald, Super Bowl champ, defensive tackle, super important position. However, if you can get an edge rusher that can make life a living hell, for whether it's a, running back crack block or a tight end or right or left tackle, whatever, I feel like that's a valuable position. I feel like Brian Burns has just kind of tapped the surface. I feel like he's shown us more on the field that he can be a long-term player for this team to make an impact. He's only going to get better. He's only going to put on more weight. Like he's kind of built like a stick figure, and he just keeps on piling on muscle. Imagine him and Hassan Reddick just go work out, Muscle Beach, get beefed up. There'll be trouble for opposing offensive lines because I don't feel like Stephon Gilmore's coming back. So I feel like if you give some of that money to Hassan Reddick, he gets beefed up. He's saying he's trying to get to like 250 plus. And him and Brian Burns, I feel like they're going to be trouble. I do. So I would keep Brian Burns. I have a talk about Jeremy Chinn. And it's a tough one because he's kind of the face of this defense. If you take a look at who the Panthers always put out there in their marketing, of course he does the thing himself where he puts on, legendary Carolina athletes, whether it's in NASCAR, the Carolina Hurricanes, the Hornets, the Panthers, it doesn't matter. He rocks their jerseys. He auctions them off. He's on Good Morning Football talking about these initiatives with Charlotte FC, who just lost their first inaugural game ever as a franchise in MLS. Who do they have in their promo? It was Jeremy Chinn. So Jeremy Chinn is kind of like the face of this team at the moment because at the moment, Christian McCaffrey is not on the field, so it's kind of tough. It's a tough look. So Jeremy Chinn's kind of the face. However, based on position alone, unless they switch him up back to a linebacker type thing, more of a hybrid type situation, not back there as a safety, I'm going to use an argument used by Dan Patrick, legendary Hall of Fame broadcaster. He talks about this. He says, one of his sayings he always says is, you don't buy tickets to a football game to watch a safety. You don't. You just don't do it. And, guys like Earl Thomas, with the Seattle Seahawks or Legion of Boom, Scott Fitterer styles, you don't buy tickets to a football game to watch a safety play. You just don't. And so Jeremy Chinn, from his position alone, and what he brings to this team, and I'll mind you, he was kind of, maybe because of his position, he's kind of invisible. I know he led the team in tackles at times, but that's because our linebackers and defensive linemen couldn't stop the run at times. I would let him go. I would let him go because you can draft a guy. If you get 2 first-round picks now, and you can use that 6th-round pick for a luxury pick like a Kyle Hamilton, who you would say, neck and neck, is a better player, better prospect than Jeremy Chinn. He just is. He's bigger. He's faster. He played at a higher level. He's played in bigger games. If you had 2 first-round picks, you have that luxury pick to get a Kyle Hamilton with the 6th-round pick, with a 6th overall pick, and then with that other first-rounder, you can get your offensive lineman. So I would do it. I would let Jeremy Chinn go. It sucks, but you got to kill your babies. Remember, kill your babies. Jeremy Chinn is the Carolina Panthers baby. He's one of their most prized babies. Got to let that baby go. Let me know what you think in the comments below. Which one of the cornerstone guys would you be willing to let go for the betterment of the team in terms of draft picks that could down the line be used for something like putting together, get a quarterback type situation? Would you do it? So it's Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, Taylor Moton, Derek Brown, Derek Brown, Brian Burns, Jeremy Chinn. Who would you keep? Who would you let go? See you guys soon. Make sure to like, subscribe, spread the word. Talk later.